Rena sat by the window, watching the rain pour down in gentle sheets. She held a book in her hand, its pages filled with English words she found both fascinating and frustrating. Living in a small town in India, English was not her first language, but she knew its importance. Everyone said it was the key to success, in school, in getting a good job, and even in making friends across the world. But no matter how hard she tried, Rena struggled to speak English fluently. She understood the grammar rules and could read quite well, but when it came to speaking, the words got stuck in her throat. One evening, after a particularly difficult day at school where she had fumbled through a presentation in broken English, Rena decided she had had enough. She was determined to improve her fluency. She wanted to be confident when she spoke, to have conversations without feeling nervous or embarrassed. But how? She had studied English for years, yet it still felt like a foreign language. Her first step was seeking advice from her English teacher, Mr. Gupta, who had always encouraged her. After class, Rena approached him with her concerns. "Sir, I want to speak English fluently, but I just can't seem to get the words out when I need to. What should I do?" she asked, her voice tinged with frustration. Mr. Gupta smiled kindly. "Rena, fluency comes with practice, but it's not just about memorizing rules. You need to immerse yourself in the language, surround yourself with it. Speak it, listen to it, think in it. Fluency isn't about perfection, it's about being comfortable with the language." Rena nodded thoughtfully. That evening, she decided to create her own fluency plan, one that would help her practice English every day. The first thing she did was speak to herself in English. She realized that she had always been thinking and talking to herself in her native language, Hindi. From now on, she would describe everything around her in English: the books on her shelf, the food she ate, the rain she loved to watch. It felt strange at first, but she quickly started enjoying it. The more she did it, the more natural it felt. She even started having conversations with herself in the mirror, pretending she was giving speeches or answering interview questions. The next step was listening to English as much as possible. Rena loved watching movies, so she started watching English films without subtitles. At first, she struggled to understand the fast-paced dialogue, but she didn't give up. She rewatched her favorite scenes, focusing on the actors' pronunciation, their rhythm, and how they used expressions. Over time, she started picking up new words and phrases that she had never learned in her textbooks. To supplement her learning, Rena also started listening to English podcasts. She found podcasts on topics she enjoyed, like history and science, and would listen to them while doing her chores or going for a walk. The hosts spoke naturally, and even though she didn't understand everything at first, she slowly began to follow along better. The different accents and tones helped her get used to the variety in spoken English. But it wasn't just about listening. Mr. Gupta had told her that speaking with others was crucial. This part made Rena nervous. She was afraid of making mistakes and being judged by others. However, she knew that staying in her comfort zone wouldn't help her improve. So, she took a deep breath and started small. Rena began by speaking to her friends in English, even though they usually spoke in Hindi. At first, it felt awkward, and she stumbled over her words. But her friends, sensing her effort, were supportive. They would laugh with her, not at her, whenever she made a mistake, and they often corrected her gently. With their help, Rena became more comfortable speaking English in casual conversations. Encouraged by this, she decided to join an English conversation group she found online. It was a space where people from different countries practiced speaking English with each other. At first, Rena was too shy to say much. She listened as people from all over the world, from Brazil to Japan, chatted confidently in English, even if their accents and grammar weren't perfect. Slowly, Rena gathered the courage to participate. The group members were friendly and non-judgmental, and soon, Rena was having conversations about her life, her interests, and even cracking jokes in English. One of the group leaders, Sarah, gave Rena some advice that changed her mindset. "Fluency isn't about speaking perfectly," Sarah said. "It's about being able to communicate your ideas clearly, without hesitation. The more you practice, the more comfortable you'll get. Don't worry about making mistakes. We all do. It's part of learning." Taking this advice to heart, Rena also started thinking in English. Instead of mentally translating sentences from Hindi to English, she tried to form her thoughts directly in English. At first, this was difficult, but it became easier with time. She found that it helped her speak more quickly and naturally since she wasn't pausing to translate everything in her head. Over the months, Rena's fluency improved significantly. She began to notice changes in her confidence as well. She no longer felt nervous when speaking English in front of others. In fact, she started looking forward to opportunities to practice. She volunteered to give presentations in class, and her teachers noticed how much more confidently she spoke. Her sentences flowed smoothly, and she could express her ideas clearly. One day, Mr. Gupta called her after class. "Rena, I've noticed a big improvement in your English. You've become so much more fluent," he said with a smile. Rena beamed. "Thank you, sir. It's all thanks to the advice you gave me about practicing every day." Mr. Gupta nodded. "I'm proud of you, Rena. You've put in the hard work, and it's paid off. Remember, fluency is a journey, not a destination. Keep learning, keep practicing, and you'll only get better." From that day forward, Rena continued her journey with English, no longer feeling frustrated or afraid. She had learned that fluency wasn't about being perfect. It was about being persistent, curious, and brave enough to make mistakes along the way. And with each passing day, she grew more fluent, not just in English, but in the language of confidence.